896-5555. Jacksonville.
On the last play of the game, McManus kicks it up. The chip shot field goal is good, and the Packers have defeated the Jaguars 30-27 at Everbank Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, they're devastated. They're heartbroken. They battled their tails off. They fought to the end, quite frankly. That's all that I can ask for. But I also want them to understand, too, that these games come down to about 3 plays. Can't give the ball away like we did late, deep in our own end. We didn't tackle very well defensively. So there's some things that we need to clean up and continue to clean up if we want to, get back on track.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. It is a Check the Tape Tuesday, for good or bad. That's what we do every single week. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, Dylan Denmark here with you. Logs at a undisclosed remote location. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning, Mike.
It sounds like you're in the bathroom right now, but you're probably not. It's just a little bit. Sometimes you get that little hollow quality things, but you're far from hollow, Mr.
I can assure you, I am not in the bathroom.
All right,
I am not that talented to where I can multitask.
Yeah, I've never done a show from the bathroom. I will make a call from the bathroom
passer.
Though.
Jeff rushes the passer.
So anyway, Logs, we got to lay out some drama that doesn't involve you here. Just for folks who follow along, the Breakfast Bowl, which you're well aware of, came down to the wire like it's never done before last night. And Mike DiRocco needed 14.2 points out of Malik Neighbors on Monday Night Football to tie Tony 14.3 to not buy breakfast. And on the last drive of the game, he gets a catch, and he ends up with 7 catches for 72 yards, which works out to exactly 14.2.
Yep.
So it was a dead tie. And then somewhere in the 20 to 30 minutes immediately after the game, 1 yard disappeared from Neighbors in the box score. And now,
no way.
Yes. I mean, literally, I saw it because I was looking at it too, and I'm like, oh, no, they tied. I can't believe they tied. And Tony even tweeted out about it, and they took a single yard away. So Mike DiRocco becomes the first person to lose the Breakfast Bowl by 1/10 of a point.
Somebody has to go on the crowd.
Congratulations to D-Rock. So there you go. That's the drama, Logs. And that's
brutal.
It's down to the wire, much like the Jags were down to the wire this week and unable to pull out the win against the Green Bay Packers. Let's start with Trevor Lawrence. We often do here. And I was just talking with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser, and they agree. I feel like it's becoming more polarizing. Like there's like 90% of the people are in the camp of either A, Trevor's the problem, or B, Trevor can do no wrong, and any criticism of him is unjustified because there are bigger problems on the team. I think the answer, as it usually does, lies somewhere in between. So let's just start with your impression of how he performed this week.
No, I think you're right. I think it falls somewhere in between, and you'd like to have a little bit faster start to the game than you did with the 4 drives where you just really did nothing, and then you turn the ball over twice. But I'm a big believer in that Trevor is what he is, and it's not like that he's going to stay there forever, and he's still in the developing process. And I believe that he can become a really good quarterback and maybe a great quarterback. But right now he's not there. But he's certainly better than junk. I mean, a lot of people that just say, oh, he's trash, let's get rid of him. I mean, for those people, you have no clue. I mean, literally, and not trying to be harsh, but you have to have a little patience, and you also have to be able to open your eyes and understand some of the things that he is doing is great. Is it perfect? No. But they've got to be better around him as a football team, I think, in its entirety. And then I think a lot of people will warm up to him, the ones that are not big fans of him right now. But I believe in him, and I do. And I'm not saying that he's Patrick Mahomes or, whoever. I believe that he's a good football player. He needs help around him, and I think he's only going to get better.
I know you've had the opportunity to be in the locker room on days where you've seen your quarterback where, he's the reason why you had a chance to win and probably the reason why you lost that day, right? That's the kind of the nature of the quarterback position. So much is riding on their shoulders week to week. How does a locker room typically react to a day like Trevor Lawrence has on Sunday? There's no question the 2 turnovers are why they likely wind up losing that game, but he's also the reason they got back into it and tied it the way he played that second half. How does a locker room react to that?
I think the locker room is no different than any other person that is a fan to some extent. Number one, I think they understand that he wasn't perfect in the ball game, but they also understand that he gave them a chance to win the ball game, and at the very end, he gave them a great chance to win the ball game. And for whatever reason, the Jaguars' defense just continues to fall short in multiple categories of giving this football team a chance to win. That's disappointing. But Tony, I mean, human nature is human nature. Whether you're a player or whether you're a fan or anything else. And so I think the attitude towards Trevor is positive overall in the locker room. Do they wish that he didn't turn the ball over those 2 times? Sure. But at the same token, I'm sure there's some guys on the defense that wish they didn't blow a coverage. I'm sure there's some guys in the wide receiver group that wish they didn't drop a pass or miss a block. So it's kind of one of those things where at the end of the day, everybody understands that nobody's perfect, but they also understand that Trevor is a good football player and gives them a chance to win every week.
Logs, I think we've talked about this. I'm sure we have multiple times, but how can they adjust things to get Trevor off to a faster start? Because it does seem like sometimes it takes him a half a quarter, a couple of drives, or maybe even a full quarter to settle into a game. He sailed a few passes early. They didn't convert they didn't pick up a single first down on those first 4 drives. So is there something you can do, whether it's simulating the urgency of a 2-minute drill or whatever the case, to kind of get him in the flow quicker than they've been able to do so far?
It's a great question. And, do you alter the pregame warm-up? Do you call plays maybe a little bit differently to start a game out, to maybe get him involved in, the one thing I think, and if you guys, think about this going back to the history of Trevor Lawrence. When you've seen him kind of run in games, aren't those the ones that typically are the games that he's been a little bit better?
Yeah.
I'm asking you guys.
Yeah, when he gets loose a little bit, right? And he's in the flow, and the adrenaline's going, sure.
If that's the case, then do you consider maybe having some type of plays early in the game that you maybe kind of let him, I don't want to say cut him loose and turn him into Lamar Jackson, because that's not who he is, but maybe get him involved with some type of read option or naked bootleg or something that he can kind of get his legs involved in the game a little bit early. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. Because it seems like those games that he has where he is using his legs and is scrambling a little bit, it seems that those are the games that he just rolls. And so maybe you have something like that early in the game. Get him involved, from a running standpoint early in the game. And I'm not saying turn a running back, folks, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But just to change it up a little bit maybe.
When you had the opportunity to go back and look, obviously the 2 turnovers happened, the interception and the fumble. The fumble was the one that I think people are probably more upset about. It's not something we've seen Trevor do yet this year, but it's not like it's unlike something we've seen happen to him in the past. What did you see when you went back and saw that play again on tape that led to him trying to switch the ball in his hands to his left hand and eventually getting it punched out?
Yeah, and I get it. And I think a lot of times when you're not winning, you're trying to press and do more. And I think that was a case of exactly that, where he's trying to do more. He's trying to switch hands, get a stiff arm, get outside the pocket, and do something with his legs. And in a perfect world with hindsight, you say, hey, look, just take a sack, throw it away. Do anything but try to switch the ball and then have it detached from your body and allow the defender to end up knocking that ball out. So hindsight is 20/20 there, and he's got to be better than that. But again, I think it's trying to do too much. When you're not winning and you're not having success as a team and you're not doing good enough, I think, as a quarterback, or what people may view as being good enough. You always try to do more. And, the interception, to go to that one for a minute, I thought that Brian Thomas Jr. could have been better for him. You got two guys in close proximity, and essentially you have is a deep over route by Christian Kirk. And Brian kind of bends that route in, and then now you essentially are bringing the safety in the proximity of Christian Kirk. Now, it wasn't a great throw because he ended up leading Christian Kirk too much, but Brian Thomas also could have been better there and stayed more to the outside, and then also ran the safety off a little bit better than he did.
Somebody on the text line here, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, I think just responding to what we're talking about here, that there are seemingly polar opposites on your opinions on Trevor Lawrence. Says, I think many fans want any player to actually earn the ridiculous amount of money they get paid. They relate a player's performance to their own in their jobs. End of the day, the players get paid to win. If they don't, they should be fired like another person who doesn't perform. Problem is, you probably don't have a guaranteed contract or partially guaranteed contract at your job. They're paid to perform, and winning is, yes, a big part of the equation, but you can't just say, all right, perform, go win, right? Because it is more than one person. Trevor Lawrence, and I heard the guys talking about it on the drill this morning, and I'm not saying he's perfect by any stretch. 10th in the league in yards, 10th in touchdown passes. 18 quarterbacks have more interceptions, and most of the ones he's tied with at 4 have significantly fewer passing attempts. So he has played like a borderline top 10 quarterback this year, but you don't get the win-loss results. And I think Jeff Prosser's point was, look, if you're going to say that he's not a top 10 quarterback because of the record, then Burrow's no longer a top 10 quarterback either. They're 3-5. He's got a lot of the same statistical markers in there. And, I get it. Burrow's done more in the past, gone to a Super Bowl and all that. But, when you just look at the statistical, I think if they were even 4-4, Jeff, I think the naysayers would be less vocal about it.
No, of course. And I think the contract really brings a lot of attention onto Trevor. And that's just, that's part of the deal. Look, you get paid a lot of money and you're going to end up having a lot of scrutiny. And that's just comes with the nature of the position. So, but I think in some cases, and I'm not saying you need to forget the money, but you got to look at it without kind of through a lens that's colored with money a lot of times. And reality is he is paid to win, and I understand that. But football is the ultimate team sport, and it involves a lot. It involves the other players on the football team. It involves the coaching. It involves the organization. It involves everything. And I think there's a lot of areas that can get better, not just Trevor, but in other areas to make the organization and the results better.
I do think as well, that comment there, many fans want a player to actually earn the ridiculous amount of money they get paid. If that's your mindset that, well, it's ridiculous that they get paid that much, then you're probably never going to be satisfied. You know what I mean? Like they've earned, the players collectively have earned that pot of money through the league's revenues and the collective bargaining agreement, which entitles them to like 49% of all the money out there. They've earned that money. The money's coming
Mike,
in.
You know what a ridiculous amount of money is? It's what other people earn. It's not what you earn.
Yeah, I hear you. And I get it. There are always overpaid guys within that structure, but that pool of money is going to go to the players. And if you're committing to your quarterback, that's the reality in today's NFL.
When Lawrence Taylor was on the Manning cast last night, I just happened to look up his current net worth, right? Like what it's estimated to be. Lawrence Taylor, if he was playing today, would still be the guy that he was when he was playing then, right? Like whatever era you put LT in, he's the best player on the field when he's playing, right? Has the argument to be the best defensive player in the history of the National Football League. His net worth is estimated to be somewhere between $8 and $10 million. He would be getting that for 3 games right now if he was playing in today. He played in that era. I'm not saying he's hurting because he played and only is worth $8 million. I'm saying today the money is different than it used to be, and in 10 years it's going to be different than it is today.
Sure.
For everybody. Like the money's only going to go up and up and up. And if you're bothered by professional athletes making a lot of money, I don't know why you watch sports if that's going to bother you.
It's always been that way. I remember when Nolan Ryan and Dave Winfield got the first $1 million contracts in baseball, and nobody's worth $8,000 a game or whatever it worked out to. And, it does get bigger. By the way, LT probably be worth 10 times that. I have a feeling he hasn't used the best judgment in his life financially. And if he had invested it wisely, maybe he'd have $100 million right now. I don't know. But anyway.
I was in New York at the same time as LT, and some of the stories, he's a little bit older than me, but some of the stories that used to come across the Hudson River about Lawrence were just eye-opening, to say the least.
I would guess,
Lawrence was one of those guys that it was never about the money. It was about being in the moment, being a great athlete, a competitor, but then also being great off the field in his own way.
Well, depends on. Yes, we won't define specifically what his own way was.
I'll tell you one story that I heard, and I thought it was pretty interesting. At the end of the year, the equipment guys, they go and they clean out the lockers, for the entire team. All the players, they bring in garbage bags, and at the end of the year they throw stuff in the garbage bags that they want to take home with them, and then the rest is free to be either thrown out or reconditioned, clean for next year, whatever. And of course, equipment guys always talk, and so I heard a secondhand through equipment guy that at the end of the year, they go in and clean out the lockers, and everybody's already cleaned out all their stuff, and they go into Lawrence's locker, and of course, there's still a lot of stuff in there because he didn't bother to clean a lot of stuff out. And they start going to the locker and they start finding uncashed game checks. So that gives you an idea of where Lawrence was in those days.
There's a story about Ricky Henderson like that. Ricky was like somebody went to do an interview with him, and there was like $1 million check just sitting around. Like, I'll cash that, I guess. I'll put that in the bank or whatever. Hey, must be nice, right? I occasionally find a crumpled up dollar in the bottom pocket, in the pocket of my jeans logs. And that's kind of a windfall day. I appreciate that. All right. Jeff Lageman's here. If you've got questions or comments related to your Jacksonville Jaguars, we will take them here on a Check the Tape Tuesday and let Jeff weigh in on the present circumstances. We've got a lot to get to, and we could talk more about Trevor Lawrence if you want. Just wanted to start there with the quarterback. There is a lot to dig into today with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if you want to get in, you know the ways to do it. 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at Logs56, or at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
And hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat as well if you would like to. It's Jaguars Today on a Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss, the team that comes through in the clutch every single time. No last-second Hail Marys with Awaken 180. From day one, you're going to feel the change in your body because you're going to start dropping pounds rapidly. You eat to lose weight with Awaken 180. They tell you what to eat, when to eat, show you the different things and combinations of food that are going to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. And pretty soon, you almost become addicted to that sensation of, hey, man, there's hopping on the scale at the end of the week. They're going another 4 or 5 pounds, and it's going to fall off you quicker than you even realize. But the great thing with Awaken 180 is the promise that they can maintain that weight loss with you, and they will fulfill that promise. They've done it with me for over a year now, and you get great coaching and support, and it's free for life. Hit your goal weight, set a goal, hit it with Awaken 180 in rapid fashion, and you're going to get free coaching and support for life. Give them a call at 844-346-1800. No matter how many pounds you need to lose, you can schedule a free consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Get a Friday evening full of football fun.
I'm National College football writer Matt Hayes.
The big games, the big matchups.
Get you ready for football Saturday.
It's the Bueller Aaron Plumbing College Kickoff, Friday night at 6. Brought to you by Sonny's Barbecue on 1010XL.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
Guys, don't suffer through this season with prostate, bladder, or kidney issues. Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations with advanced urological care to improve your health and vitality. Visit ackermanurology.com.
Now, it's time to showcase the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game. Live generously and life will treat you royally.
Logan Cook served up a masterpiece against the Green Bay Packers. The teal and black punter recorded 5 punts for 298 yards, with his longest going for 73 yards. Cook had the right ingredients to deliver a great performance, and he's your Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
Bet live with Hard Rock Bet. Real-time wagering till the very last play. Missing the kickoff doesn't mean all bets are off.
Delay a game on the guy who hasn't bet yet.
Sometimes you just know your team is going to come back. The sportsbook for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Jacksonville, are you ready? The college basketball season is tipping off with an epic in-state showdown. The Florida Gators and South Florida Bulls go head-to-head in the Jacksonville Sports Foundation Invitational. Be there Monday, November 4th at Veterans Memorial Arena and witness this in-state rivalry live. Secure your seats now at Ticketmaster.com. It's Florida versus South Florida to start the college basketball season on November 4th in Jacksonville. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count. The right talent.
The right attitude.
The right game plan. The right amount of fight, pride, and determination.
If you've been injured, put our force to work for you.
Farah and Farah, here for Jacksonville, here for good.
Hey, it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WonderWorld wants you to do. WonderWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WonderWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WonderWorld can.
And with WonderWorld, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new WonderWorld windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, WonderWorld and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with WonderWorld, and to top it off, WonderWorld windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with WonderWorld. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call WonderWorld today and get your free in-home estimate, or see them online at WonderWorldNEFlorida.com.
WonderWorld, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
WindoWorld also offers energy-efficient doors.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Cyber threats don't take time outs. Protect your business with DoubleCheck Cybersecurity's AI-powered solutions. Get 24/7 defense and stop hackers before they score. Don't wait. Visit doublecheck.com to schedule your free security consultation today.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, we're just looking at some numbers. Somebody asked, tell me what quarterbacks is on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Tell me what quarterbacks have been better than Trevor in the last 4 weeks. Well, I'm not saying it's a super long list. I'm not arguing. Again, like Trevor has had his ups, but he also has his bad moments, and I just think you got to recognize those. And the first one who came to mind, Jared Goff, has been on an historical heater. Right? He only threw for 85 yards this week, but He threw 3 touchdowns, and that was a case of they didn't need to even throw the football.
Well, and it does point to something that we know is an issue for the football team right now. They don't overcome bad moments.
Correct.
Right? Like, this is just not a football team right now that's built to overcome those moments. I don't think Trevor Lawrence isn't playing well enough for the Jags to win more games than they've won to this point this season, but that doesn't matter when you're talking about the entire team. They're 2-6 because they're 2-6. Doesn't matter how well the quarterback may have played in the last month.
Although, Jeff, I think you can argue in this game, they did overcome some bad moments in coming back and putting themselves in position, down 10 multiple times, but they still had bad moments left to give, right? I mean, the 51-yard reception given up to Jaden Reed late in the game. How much hope is there for the coverage unit for this football team improving over the second half of the season?
Well, I mean, you can only go up, right? I mean, right now they're like one of the worst teams in the league as far as allowing big plays and passing defense. And not only was the 51-yarder to Jaden Reed at the end of the game disappointing, but you go back to even the 67-yarder to Tucker Kraft, the tight end, that Green Bay ended up getting a field goal on that drive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, the Jaguars defense right now is struggling as far as trying to keep things clean. And, here's a stat, going into that last game, and I'm sure it's not going to change after this past game, but going into that game, big plays allowed, the Jaguars defense leading the league in big plays allowed, averaging like 7.6 a game. And then you had those two, and those are essentially explosive plays in a ball game, which, as you guys know, explosive plays always lead to points. And the Jaguars defense, they're allowing that at a greater pace than anybody in the National Football League. And the thing that I'm having a difficult time with, a lot of it is breakdowns. I mean, guys running free. You look at those 2 plays that we're talking about, the one to Kraft, the tight end. Essentially, you got Jordan Love on one leg scrambling out of the pocket. And then all of a sudden he finds Kraft wide open across the field in a man coverage. I mean, that shouldn't happen. And then the 51-yarder to Jaden Reed, it's essentially a bootleg sneak throwback. And it's man coverage again. And look, it's not hard to play man coverage. I mean, look, if I'm in the room and I say, hey, I got Tony. Hey, Mike, you got pockets. Okay, we're going to cover those guys everywhere they go. And for some reason, it's breaking down in the Jaguars defense. And it's disappointing because it's not like it's just happened this week. It's been happening all year.
Well, and everybody knows it, right? Like this, none of this is new. We know, the stories have been coming out about specifically the Jaden Reed play. That wasn't part of the game plan for Green Bay this week. They got in a moment and they said, this will work because we're playing them, right? Like that's essentially what they said. This will work because we're playing this team in this moment. This is why we're going to try this play. And Jacksonville, the secondary has done what it's done in different ways at different times this year, but the results are all eerily similar, Jeff, where, if you want to go at them that kind of way, they're not equipped right now to deal with it.
Let's go back to the Buffalo game, okay? The Buffalo game in which the Buffalo Bills, if you guys will remember coming into that game, Buffalo was running the ball at a clip that they've never seen before under their quarterback, Josh Allen. And what did they do coming out of that game? They came out and threw, and they were attacking certain positions in particular. And that's a problem. I mean, that's a problem. And look, I understand that the Jaguars have had some issues in the secondary with injuries and at the linebacking position with injuries, but, I mean, come on. I mean, look, every other team in the league deals with those situations too.
All right, let's go to the phones for the first time this morning on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Jay on the west side going to lead things off with Jeff Lageman. Jay, go ahead, please.
Good morning. Jeff, I have a question. What did you think on that last 4 minute, the last drive for the Jaguars? Like, what did you see different? Like, from the young guys stepping up, Brenton Strange, Parker Washington. I feel like they stepped up really well, but I don't know why people are saying Trevor's not going to have nobody that says BTJ out, Christian out. I feel like these guys will step up,
I agree. I was impressed. And what Jay's talking about, the end of the game, the Jaguars, for the people that don't know, the Jaguars lost their top 3 wide receivers. Okay, Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr., all are without injury. So the Jaguars essentially, all they had was 2 wide receivers left to play, which was Tim Jones and Parker Washington. And then what they did is they played 21 personnel. For people that don't know, you've heard that term before, and 11 personnel or 31 personnel, essentially 21 personnel. The first number is always the number of tight ends, okay? The second number is the number of backs. The one number that's never spoken is wide receiver. So 21, 2 tight ends, 1 is the running back. So 21, 2 tight ends, 1 running back, and the rest, which is 2, are wide receivers. So if it was 22 personnel, it would be 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, and then the remaining number is 1 because you have 5 skill position guys. You would have 1 wide receiver. So they go 21 personnel with Evan Ingram and Brenton Strange, and Evan is essentially playing a wide receiver position, which is no surprise. I mean, if you look at the way that defensive coordinators treat the Jaguars offensively, Evan Ingram gets treated as a wide receiver. And Evan was running the wide receiver routes in that personnel grouping down the stretch and did a very good job. But it's not something that's completely foreign to him. He's done that in the past. I think what impressed me the most was Parker Washington did a great job on the one that was down the field, did an excellent move at the top of the route, but I wasn't surprised because he did the same thing to Jalen Johnson of the Chicago Bears and left Jalen Johnson, who's one of the best corners in the league, spinning around not knowing where to go. And then Brenton Strange just continues to impress and get better and better. And when he ran over the linebacker on that one play, man, that was awesome. But Eric Wilson kind of was coming at him unsure, and then Brenton Strange trucked him. And Tim Jones has always been dependable in my book, just when given the opportunities. So I give Trevor credit. A lot of people say, well, Green Bay was playing soft. Well, Green Bay wasn't playing that soft. It wasn't like it was a 3-possession game and they're playing back and safeties are at 20 feet, 20 yards deep. They weren't playing that style of defense. And so I thought it was impressive. The Jaguars have some good personnel. They've got some depth, and kudos to them, and kudos to Trevor for getting after it because he didn't blink and he was aggressive without being sloppy.
Yeah, and I would say the one thing, like Christian Kirk, I'm excited about seeing what Parker Washington can do, right? That doesn't mean they won't miss something not having Kirk in there, but I think Parker Washington is a lot better position than he was last year to help this team. I don't think you can replicate what Brian Thomas Jr. brings to this team. And, so as long as he's able to get through whatever he needs to get through this week to be out there, I'll feel okay about it, Logs. But if Brian Thomas Jr. is not there, I think this offense is in serious trouble.
Well, I wouldn't say serious trouble, but I would say that they're missing a big piece because he is a special talent. There's not many guys that can stretch the field like he does in the league today. I mean, he's one of those elite players. I mean, and that's a strong term to use for a rookie that's only played in 8 games. But that's the category that he is performing in, and it's impressive. And I can't wait to see the next game that he plays. And I'll say that every week of the season just because he's that good.
All right, let's take a time out here. If you'd like to get in, 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. It's the most direct route. We got a bunch of social media questions. We'll start passing those your way, Logs, when we return on a Check the Tape Tuesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
If you're like most Americans, you have a ton of credit card debt and you're paying insane interest rates on that debt every month. Same for car loans and personal loans. Stop getting ripped off. Let Loan Pronto consolidate that debt for you at a significantly lower rate using the equity in your home. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit can get you up to $500,000. so you can consolidate your debt in as fast as 5 days. Their average client saves over $1,000 every month by doing this. Right now is the best time to act. With an Express Equity line of credit, you can access up to 90% of your home's equity, usually without an appraisal. Don't put it off. Get your financial house in order for the new year and call Loan Pronto now to see what you can save. It's a free quote and there's no credit pull, unlike the other guys. Call now, 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Do you feel a ghastly presence in your septic tank this Halloween? A septic emergency is spookier than a haunted house. But fear not. Duck Duck Rooter is here to rescue you from the depths of septic despair.
I'm Vlad, the Valiant Septic Tech, ready to cast out the demons from your septic system. If your toilet's acting possessed or your pipes are stirring up a witch's brew, we got the magic wand to fix it all.
Call Duck Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 to schedule your septic tank pumping today.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Can you believe they've been cleaning carpets in Jacksonville now for 20 years? Dave Benyon, his family, and staff are so grateful of things and appreciate you, their great customers. In fact, October's birthday month for Zero Res. So what are we doing for customers? Just say happy birthday, Zero Res, and we'll give you $50 off. That's $50 off carpet, tile, and grout, upholstery, or area rugs. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
American Electrical is looking for bright minds and hard workers to help light up North Florida. The community continues to grow, and now you can grow your career with a company that will make sure you succeed through commitment. Take advantage of the Electrical Academy, dedicated to training select students. And the best news? It's free of charge. Log on to American-Electrical.com to find out more. They're leading the way in electrical contractors on the First Coast, and you can be part of the team. American Electrical, powered by professionalism. Equal opportunity employer.
Basketball is back in Duval for your chance to win premium seats to the Gators versus USF basketball game at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena November 4th. Text BALL to the 1010XL text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010.
You've got a circle of friends, right? Well, how about a circle of beer? All your favorites like Bud Light, Bud Heavy, Mick Ultra, or Natty Light. It's all there in the cold case at Circle K. Probably one right around the corner right now calling your name. Slide on in to a Circle K.
You've worked hard, you have nice things. Protect and enjoy with a luxury storage unit at The Shed, opening soon in Atlantic Beach. You got to see these places to believe them. What a smart investment out at AB. I can take 10 minutes, but I can't tell you everything. Go to theshedjacks.com or take a tour on Instagram.
Everything about the game has changed, except for the most important thing. What you have inside. It is what drives the game. It refuses to be ignored. It sweats everything, turns an athlete into a legend. Gatorade, is it in you?
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Jeff Lageman here. Now that football season is here, make sure your ride can get to that tailgate or away game safely and dependably. You can trust the ASE certified professionals at any of the 27 independently owned Napa Auto Care Centers and the quality Napa parts they use. Napa Auto Care Centers can handle everything: oil changes, air conditioning, brakes, engines, transmissions, and more. Napa Auto Care offers a nationwide 24-month, 24,000-mile peace-of-mind warranty on most repairs. Find a Napa Auto Care Center near you. JacksNapaAutoCareGroup.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Baselli with his thoughts on the 2-6 Jaguars.
This is not a good team. And it pains me to say that. And I'm not like, and what do I mean by that? Because good teams find ways to win games. Bad teams find ways to lose games. And right now, the reason I'm saying we're a bad team because we're 2-6, so you are what your record says you are. But more than anything, why it's a disappointing bad team is because we're finding ways to lose.
Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Baselli on Jaguars Happy Hour. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Barra & Barra, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
Somebody, I guess, autocorrect got him.
Oh?
I assume it's an attempt to say good morning, fellas. Good moronic fellas is what we got. That's to me, all right, and I'll take it. I'll take it right there on the chin, regardless. All right, Logs, somebody asked this one, and I will pass it along to you because I'll be honest, I just really don't know the answer to this. And again, we don't, like, you know how they show usually a shot of the coaches up in the booth at some point during the game, right? And what they're working on and whatever in a tense situation. And, you know, we watch, as we often describe when we're in the studio, the in-house feed, which you don't necessarily get all the TV shots, right? It's a different feed that you're getting. But regardless, they asked, who is the Jags offensive coach up in the box? Is there, like, what is the offensive coaching presence up in the press box with Press Taylor on the sideline? Is there somebody up there with the binoculars that is radioing down saying, hey, guys, I noticed this, I noticed that?
Yeah, they do have somebody in the booth that obviously talks directly to Press Taylor, but I don't know exactly who that is because, I mean, I'm going through the coaching list right now. Phil Rauscher, the offensive line coach, is on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Mike McCoy, the quarterback's coach, is on the sideline. Chad Hall, the wide receivers coach, is on the sideline. I think Jerry Mack, the running backs coach, is on the sideline. So I'm not sure. But they've got other coaches, you know, Greg Austin, Andrew Biner, who's the assistant quarterbacks coach. Tyler Tettleton is a assistant wide receivers coach. I mean, so they have other people that are available to be up in the booth. But, yeah, you got to have somebody up there to kind of help you maybe see things that you couldn't ordinarily see from the sideline.
All right, this one on social media from Jag Knoll. He says, so why is your number one overall pick, Trayvon, only playing 77% of the defensive snaps, and your prized defensive free agent, Eric Armstead, playing only a third of them? Lastly, when does this get blown up? It wasn't his last question. Asked, is Cisco done? Looked like he was jogging on the long TD run. Cisco said his leg locked up. I don't know if you saw the comments about that or heard the comments about that.
I did, and I watched it on film, and you could tell that something in the running gear was not functioning properly. But to go back to the original part of that was, you know, Trayvon at 77% of the snaps, and also Eric Armstead at a third or whatever that number is.
Mm-hmm.
Could I see what I'd like to see Trayvon playing more? Sure. But I think the important thing is that he's playing at the critical times. I mean, there have been a couple moments this year to where a 2-minute situation and Trayvon wasn't on the field.
Yes.
And Josh Hines-Allen wasn't on the field as well. I mean, so I could look at that and say, hey, look, you know, that obviously needs to be better handling the rotation and the way that guys are playing. And I'm not a big fan totally of Ryan Nielsen's philosophy on defense and that we're going to play everybody, we're going to rotate guys, and you know we don't have any depth charts because that's BS. There's depth charts whether you want to accept them or not because guys don't have the same ability, and you're going to play certain guys in certain situations because of their ability. So in reality, you have a depth chart, and one of the aspects that was a little disappointing to me this past game was I thought Ventrell Miller had earned the right to play more in the weeks prior to the game this past week against Green Bay. And they started out with Foye Lucan and Devin Lloyd as the starting linebackers, and that's fine. I mean, look, whoever starts, it doesn't matter to me, but who plays the majority of the snaps? And I don't know exactly where the numbers fell, but I thought that Ventrell Miller deserved to play significantly more than Devin Lloyd. Just my opinion, because watching the film and some of the eye discipline issues that Devin Lloyd had, and look, I like Devin Lloyd, but he's been making mistakes, and Ventrell has played really well. And it's kind of just along the lines of what we're talking about here with Trayvon and Josh. I mean, I'm all for getting those guys some breaks, but I'm not trying to rotate guys in just to rotate guys in. I want to rotate guys so that those two guys, Josh and Trayvon, can be at their best, not to get everybody else snaps, because it doesn't matter, because the reality is that Joe Gaziano, who was a practice squad elevation, is not the same player as Trayvon or Josh Hines-Allen. Don't quite understand about Eric Armstead and the number of snaps that he's getting. The biggest thing to me that's a little confusing as to why he's not getting more snaps as a defensive tackle in base downs. That's what he was in San Francisco. That's where he's best at. I mean, in my opinion, he's not an edge player. He's best when he's utilized in the interior as a defensive tackle. I'm not quite sure why that's not happening.
Yeah, so I will skip Andrew's question. Why do we rotate defenders on all three levels like there's a minimum play rule in effect? Because I think you just
I will say,
answered.
looking back, Trayvon Walker is essentially at the same snap count percentage that he's had his first 2 years. Right, like the number's not all that different than it's been the first couple of years. I think you can point to where the team is right now, and, I can understand anyone looking at it and saying, why are Josh Hines-Allen or Trayvon Walker ever off the field, right? Because we got nobody else that's coming on that's having any kind of impact for him, but, not everyone's Max Crosby.
Right, and he's the rare exception.
Right, and this week Josh Hines-Allen played a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of why I brought up the situation. Look, I want Trayvon to get rest. I want him to be fresh. To try to play 100% of the snaps, it's incredibly difficult if you're going 100% as a pass rusher and as a defensive end or whatever flying around the field. But you just got to make sure that you manage when and where he is on the field and he's not on the field. In certain situations, you got to have your dogs on the field. In certain situations, okay, and do you want to make sure that you have one of those two guys on the field? Absolutely. Is there a situation that I only want to have none of those, either of those two on the field? Not for me personally, but anyway, just want to make sure that people understand. I don't criticize 77%. For me, I'm more critiquing, hey, look, let's make sure in critical situations those two guys are on the field.
No question about it. And never have that pair off the field at the same time. No reason for it, in my opinion. Logs, this one, here, I'll read the way the question was written, and then I will phrase it the way that I think will elicit the most accurate response from you, okay? The question from Paul is, Ryan Nielsen worse than Mike Caldwell? Okay, I will ask you, 8 games into the season, is Ryan Nielsen's defense performing worse, in your opinion, than the defense that got Mike Caldwell fired?
Yes.
What do you do about that?
To answer your question, not his question, they're not performing at the level that they had the last 2 years. And my opinion, the personnel is better. I know that there's been some guys that have, again, missed some time. But again, I mean, that happens across the league. It's just part of the game, and what do you do about that? Well, you better start getting guys in a better position than you've been getting them in, or getting better performance out of the guys that you have. I mean, that's, I think, quite simple. But it's not easy to do. I mean, it's concerning to me 2 areas. One, the lack of takeaways that the defense has. When you look back at the numbers that Mike Caldwell, to do the comparison, the number is significantly different. The overall ranking is significantly different. Maybe the only possible number that has gotten better is probably the play against the run. But even that, I don't know how much better it's really gotten. If it has, it's been a little bit, somewhat maybe marginal better. But overall, I mean, we said this many times before, and everybody says it's a quarterback league, which means it's a passing league, which means the numbers on defense that matter are third down percentage and yards passing allowed, takeaways, total points. And right now, in all those metrics, the Jaguars defense is significantly worse than they have been the last 2 years, and that's a major concern.
All right, let's get Mac on the north side before we hit the next break here on a Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman. Mac, good morning.
Hallelujah, Jeff. Hallelujah, Mike. Hallelujah, Tony. Somebody agrees with me. This clown is worse than Mike Caldwell. Well, I shouldn't call him a clown. Ryan Nielsen, I take that back. Let me take the clown word back. Ryan Nielsen is worse than Mike Caldwell. Y'all said it, and I couldn't. I kept saying that the whole season, and now I get to hear it from you guys. And I've been going with that the whole time. Thank you.
All right, Mac just wanted to, I guess, agree with that. At least again, that's why I don't want to get in. Is he worse than this guy? It's not about. It's about is he getting the performance out of these players to the same level? And Jeff agrees he's not getting that. You know, that got Mike Caldwell fired. Of course, it took Mike Caldwell 2 seasons to lose his job. I think a lot of people, Logs, looked at it and felt like the defensive side was the scapegoat, you know, that they were equally upset with some of the issues on the offensive side. And then, you know, so if that's the case, all right, Ryan Nielsen's supposed to be the hot upcoming guy who's turned defenses significantly around, and he had, right? I mean, that was his track record. It's weird. Like, he did it in New Orleans. He did it in Atlanta. Significant improvement in his first year there with not great personnel, I didn't think. And yet he can't get those results here. It's kind of baffling, isn't it?
Well, it is. And I was at the beginning of camp, you know, I was kind of excited to see what he would do because, you know, it frustrated me to no end under Mike Caldwell that you had Josh Himes, Allen, and Trayvon playing in a 2-point stance. And it used to drive me nuts just because, you know, I played the position and I know that it's you can be a lot better with your hand in the ground and you can be more aggressive and impactful. And that's not how they chose to go. And I thought under Mike, they tried to do a little bit too much as far as schematically. And with Nielsen, I thought that he really narrowed the focus. He made sure that they were going to be aggressive, playing with the hands down. But for whatever reason, the performance is not there. The production is not there. And that needs to change. I mean, it's a defense that has better personnel than to be, what do they rank now overall? Bottom 5 in the National Football League in points and total yards and passing defense and third down defense. I mean, that's just, they have better people than that, in my opinion.
When you can't get after a one-legged quarterback, Logs, should you send more pass rushers? I get the idea that, hey, you know, that opens up the secondary a little bit, but I mean, Jordan Love is standing back there. They know where he's going to be because he can't move. And he's just hopping on one foot, completing passes. And it was just it kind of reminded us going back to when Patrick Mahomes in the postseason was banged up and you just couldn't get this guy.
Yeah, and Patrick was a little bit different in that, you know, he could still kind of do Patrick things a little bit, you know, even though he was hobbled a little bit. But this was very different with Jordan Love. You know, he was literally on one leg. And when he couldn't keep both legs underneath of him, it was very apparent that he could not even throw the ball with any kind of accuracy or velocity. And I think it's almost needed to be a situation where it's like blood in the water, right? I mean, okay, we got a one-legged quarterback, and not to be mean, but let's go. You know, get after him. And I'm not saying that you commit 7 guys on the blitz and play cover 0 or 6 guys and play cover 0, but in your bag of tricks, you've got zone dogs and zone blitzes and different blitzing where you're playing man behind it. I mean, I thought it was the perfect opportunity to start being aggressive, just because if you just got him to move 2 steps, you could see that he couldn't move.
Right.
And I didn't think that they went after him. And then when you go and you play in his backup, which is Malik Willis, the offense changes very much when you go from Jordan Love to Malik Willis. And I give Matt LaFleur a lot of credit because he manages the game differently with those two quarterbacks. And I think as a defensive coordinator, you have to do the same thing because Malik Willis is a running threat. When you have a quarterback that's a running threat, you have to understand, one, that they're probably going to want to run the ball quite a bit. But then number two is with his scrambling ability as a mobile quarterback, all right, maybe we play a little less man and play a little bit more zone just so that we can keep some eyes on the quarterback. And he's an inexperienced passer. Number one, we'll see where he's at with his legs. And number two, maybe we can make an interception or two playing zone and seeing an inexperienced quarterback who doesn't have the arm talent of Jordan Love. And they really did. They just kind of stayed who they were, which is playing a lot of man. So a little disappointing there in that game that I thought that we should have been a little bit more aggressive with Jordan Love and maybe a little bit less aggressive with Malik Willis in the game.
All right, let's take a time out here and come back because we got plenty more questions coming in various forms. If you want to get in on the Garber Automall phone lines, they're always open to you at 641-1010. We'll get back to that in hour 2 with Jeff Lageman on a Check the Tape Tuesday here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. He is our quarterback savant, and he'll take you inside his mind.
So you can learn more about the science of quarterbacking.
Denny Thompson is the Quarterback Whisperer. Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet.
Imagine driving a late model Corvette, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Honda, Chevy, Ford, and more, all at a fraction of the original sticker price. Visit Vaughn Motor Group's indoor showroom and browse a great selection of dream cars that are inspected with warranties. Before you make your next auto purchase, check out Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard or at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
If the Florida heat is getting you down and you're sweating up a storm, fire up a phone call to Florida Home AC and order an AC tune-up. It's the best way to beat the heat and keep your AC unit working at peak performance. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for their tune-up special and make sure you're primed for the peak of that heat. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just a phone call away at 777-4300. Order that tune-up today.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
The best teal-colored coverage includes Mia's Quick Hits.
Get the latest news from inside the building and around the league. I'm Mia O'Brien, 1010XL's NFL Insider.
Driven by Arlington Toyota. Available on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
Welcome to ABS Advanced Business Solutions, your local print management partner and home to Xerox and HP copiers. Advanced Business Solutions. GoABSInc.com.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies. It's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals. Dine in with beer and wine and delivery at salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
Universal Roof and Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game. Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
Trevor Lawrence was a warrior on Sunday versus Green Bay. The franchise quarterback recorded 308 yards on 21 of 32 passing and chipped in 2 passing touchdowns as well as 1 rushing touchdown. Lawrence absolutely left the stadium as the BMID, the big man in Duval. Trevor Lawrence is your Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
Rake in the savings this fall with Universal Roof and Contracting. Enjoy 15% off all roof repairs and replacements with financing options as low as $115 a month. Protecting your home has never been easier. Schedule your free roof inspection today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP. This offer expires October 31st. Protect your home and your wallet. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Truck drivers. Without them, our economy would stop. They're constantly racing against time, struggling against exhaustion, and being put under enormous pressure from their bosses, the big trucking companies. This can be a major reason for an accident. Discovering who's at fault can be difficult. We can help. Put our big truck experience to work for you. Call Farah and Farah. Jacksonville.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. HairForMe.com.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. As Florida prepares to take on Georgia, it's the return of running back Trevor Etienne, a situation that's become all too familiar for head coach Billy Napier.
And look, I've seen feels like there's a story each week about scenarios like that. It wasn't the first and it won't be the last, unfortunately.
As for Georgia head coach Kirby Smart, he advised Trevor to stay focused.
Focus on the task. You don't want to be caught up in emotions. Be emotional. I don't think that helps any. That's part of college football now.
Orlando Magic forward Pablo Banchero had a big night in the NBA. After having a 30-point game opening night against Miami, he put up 50 points on Monday night, all needed in order for the Magic to get past the Indiana Pacers. In other NBA news, the Miami Heat got the win over the Detroit Pistons. That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 11:01, it's 77 degrees. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Check the Team Tuesday with Jeff Lageman is brought to you by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, let's keep rolling here with Jeff Lageman, Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you as well as we go to the phones on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Ben in Mandarin is up next. Ben, we appreciate the call. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. I had a question for Jeff. So if Trevor doesn't fumble that ball at the 5-yard line and doesn't throw that interception, do we end up winning that game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's 10 points in the ball game right there.
14, actually, right? They scored touchdowns after both of those.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, now you could argue like the phantom pass interference call, I think, was on that one, right? Monteric Brown got flagged for it.
Right.
So if that doesn't happen, maybe the defense rises up, holds them to a field goal right there. But, I mean, look, Lugs, it's even – the interception wasn't a great throw. The fumble's the one that's more bothersome to me.
Yeah.
And Trevor's been good.
Interceptions happen.
Right. Trevor's been good with ball security for the most part this year. He really has.
He has been.
But, it's glaring when it's inside your 10. You give up one sack on the day, and that sack results in a turnover. You just can't have it. So, who's to say, right? Yeah, because the game always plays out differently from that point.
Well, and again, I'm going to go back and say this again, and that when you're not playing good football as a team and your record is not great, I think the natural instinct is to try to do more. And Doug Peterson has talked about, I think after the games, that look, sometimes you just need to do your job. And I get it. I get it from Trevor's standpoint. He's trying to make a play. He's trying to make something happen because things haven't been going well. And I think in that situation, he just tried to do too much. Sometimes you just got to, again, take the sack, throw it away, whatever, punt it, and move on to the next series.
All right, Ben, we appreciate the call. Let's go to Will on the west side, next up on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Will.
Fellas.
What's up?
Yeah, I have a question, but just on what you're piggybacking off what you're saying. If he's trying to do too much, man, if you watch the Kurt Warner film on him, it's plays there, man, and he can make then if he's trying to do too much, it's available. But my question to you is a two-part question real quick. On when you were speaking on the rotation of the defensive line, what is with you playing on the line? What would you consider more reps and more work? Is it attacking the passer or protecting the passer? The reason I ask, the offensive linemen, they don't rotate. So why the guy that's coming at them that's right in front of them have to rotate? I take your answer off there.
Well, I think it's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it because a lot of people kind of don't understand why do defensive linemen rotate and why do offensive line why do they not rotate? And if you were able to see some of the GPS tracking data on a defensive lineman versus an offensive lineman, it would be very glaring. And to give an example, in practice and in the games, they insert GPS little units in the pads of players during games. And so they can track, it's one of the ways they get speed and other things, but they see how far distance has been covered. And an offensive lineman just doesn't cover a lot of distance. So the amount of exertion, whereas a defensive lineman, even though he may not be at the blocking point or straining or whatever, he might be pursuing and running 25 yards. So the amount of energy expended by a defensive lineman is much greater than an offensive lineman play in and play out. So that's one of the reasons why teams rotate. And look, all the successful teams, including the Kansas City Chiefs with Chris Jones, they rotate. Chris Jones probably plays like 70%, ballparkish of total snaps on the season, and that's natural. And again, I'm okay with guys rotating. There's nothing wrong with defensive linemen rotating. Now, for safeties and corners and linebackers, I think it's dependent upon the individual. Like Foye Lucan, once he hits his stride in the regular season, I don't want to see him rotate because he's got some of the greatest stamina of anybody ever in the history of the league, in my opinion. The corners and the safeties can run for days, it seems like, and those guys typically don't need to rotate. Linebackers, sometimes they need to rotate depending upon their role, but the big guys up front, they definitely need to rotate.
All right, well, speaking of big guys, all right, let's talk about the offensive line here for a moment. Let's talk specifically about left tackle. Okay, Cam Robinson cleared the concussion protocol, was available to play. Doug Peterson had said last week in a question asked about Travis Etienne, you're not going to lose your job because of injury. Okay, I was told that they informed Cam that he was not going to be starting, and Cam did not take that very well and may have voiced his displeasure to the point of, well, if you're not going to start me, not sure I want to play on this Sunday afternoon. Is this a major problem brewing, and do you think Cam Robinson is a likely candidate to potentially get moved in the next 7 days?
Well, I don't know if he's a likely candidate, and I don't know all the ins and outs and the particulars of how things were handled. All I can do is kind of trust my eyes, which for pregame warmups, Cam came out and socks were down. There was no tape on the wrist. Didn't even have his gloves, and didn't participate in very much of any of the pregame warmup. And then throughout the course of the game, on the sideline with hat, again, no tape. If all of a sudden there was an injury to Walker Little, I don't know how long it would have taken him to get ready to go into the ball game, but it didn't appear that he would have been ready to go in, and didn't appear to be, when the offense came off the field, the offensive line's on the bench, and, they're talking with coaches, and he was either on the other side of the bench or in the middle of the bench area, not participating in any of that. So there definitely was something amiss. And to go to the question of, okay, you can't lose your job because of injury. And I've said this before, it happens all the time in the National Football League. But I understand that, Doug Peterson said in the ETN situation, you can't lose your job because of injury. And I said it last week that I don't agree with that, and that it happens all the time. Again, the game of football in the NFL, you're in the business of winning. Okay. And the only thing you need to say in regards to a question about, who's starting, who's not, to a question of the head coach, in my opinion, is that we're going to do what's best for the team. Again, we're going to do what's best for the team, because that covers all bases. If Tank Bigsby all of a sudden turns into the greatest running back of all time, it doesn't make any sense to put Travis Etienne back in the game. And I'm not saying that he is. And the same thing goes for if Walker Little played lights out a week ago, which he did. He played really well against the New England Patriots. And then Cam is cleared on a Friday, had virtually no practice on Wednesday or Thursday. And maybe you're, as a coach, are not comfortable with playing him because he didn't have any reps or limited reps through the course of the week. Then we're going to do, quote, what's best for the team. I think, to me, that's what the answer needs to be in the application in all circumstances related to that.
All right, so last week, Walker Little played very well. How did he play this week, and how did Cooper Hodges play as well when he went in for Ezra Cleveland?
Walker did not play as well because there was more passing, and Walker Little, I thought, did a really good job in the running game against the Patriots. And then when he was isolated one-on-one against Preston Smith was wearing him out. I mean, to be honest with you, in the early part of the game, now he settled down a little bit, which obviously was important. And one of the reasons why the Jaguars were not having success early in the game was because of the pressure by Preston Smith. And so if I had to give it like a letter grade, I'd say B-, for Walker Little, somewhere in that range. I thought Cooper Hodges came in, got caught off guard on a little – which a TE, which is a game by the defensive tackle and defensive end. And Trevor got smoked on that play, and he gave up another pressure. But then he seemed to settle down. He's a good football player and strong. Just, look at things are a little bit faster in game situations. The more reps I think that he would get, the better he would be. But things were a little fast for him in that game. And but overall, okay, for being pressed into action and getting snaps at right guard, and then also later in the game having to move to left guard. I mean, that's the spot that really he hadn't gotten a ton of reps at.
Given everything we've discussed with Walker Little, how he's played the last couple weeks, whatever's going on with Cam, which certainly seems unclear, right, at this moment as far as where he stands with everything with the football team, who do you expect him to start at left tackle this week against Philadelphia?
That's a great question. Here's the thing. If you're looking at both of these guys, okay, Cam's a better pass protector because, to use the words of Baselli, me and him had a conversation about it, and he knows tackles better than I do, even though I watch him as kind of the opposite side of the field. And that I would feel better about beating Walker Little clean. I think I could beat him inside. Cam, I don't think I could beat clean, but I think I could be more consistent at getting pressure around the edge. And again, in the running game, I would rather go against Cam because I don't think Cam finishes very well. So, I mean, it's kind of like, okay, do you want a guy who does a little bit better job in pass protection, or do you want a guy that maybe does a little bit better at finishing in the run game? So, I mean, I think it's, apples to apples comparison here, and that, you kind of a toss-up situation here. I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. But if there's a problem with one playing and the other one not, then I think that's a problem. That's a problem for your football team.
All right. We don't know if Cam Robinson will even draw any trade interest. Right? I mean, like Minnesota last week lost their left tackle Christian Darrisaw for the year, so there are needs out there. A lot of people. There was a lot of buzz around Christian Kirk that teams were making offers, or at least he was potentially available for the right offer. That's obviously out the window. Let me ask you specifically about
real quick. Can I just interject this, Mike? Because what you're the whole thing that you're talking about is there was chatter,
yes,
right? And the fact that there's chatter out there is disappointing to me, because number one, your football team at last week's point was 2-5, getting ready to face the Green Bay Packers team with a chance. I'm not saying it's high, but a chance to get back in the conversation. The chatter exists for a reason, and to me, that's a problem. Why is that chatter out there? Why are people naming names about trade chatter? Look, if it was speculation, hey, look, the Jaguars could be sellers in this market because they're only 2-5, and their chances of getting back into the playoff conversation is kind of small. But there was specific chatter. There's the chatter like you're talking about with Cam and with Parker Washington, and there was one other name. Who was the other name that was bandied about?
Christian Kirk.
For me,
I haven't heard any Parker Washington stuff.
Not Parker Washington. Sorry, but Parker Washington. I was thinking about replacing Christian Kirk, but Christian Kirk, and then Cam Robinson. I think there was even one other name that was
ETN gets mentioned.
ETN,
well.
Thank you. And so I don't like the fact that you're not eliminated. Okay, you're playing a home game against Green Bay, and then all of a sudden there's this chatter that exists out there. To me, I don't like that because it distracts from your football team, and it's unnecessary. It's not good.
Well, I understand where you're coming from, but it's a reality that when teams fall off or underperform in the first half of the season, the trade deadline approaches, sometimes those names get out there because the team is willing to move that guy, and they're trying to create a market and let them know that, hey, yeah, offers are coming in. You better come strong. I mean, it was happening with the Rams. The Rams were 2-4, and Cooper Kupp was all but out the door. And then they beat Minnesota, and Sean McVay said, no, Cooper Kupp is a Ram, and I expect it to stay that way. Because by winning, they said to themselves, hey, maybe we're still in this. But by losing, they might have felt like, you know what, we're not in this, and it's time for a reset. So, I get it's not ideal, but it is a reality in the NFL that we hear these things. And sometimes it could be the agent looking for his guy to get greener pastures. It could be the GM trying to stoke a trade market, or it could be a number of things. But I don't disagree that it's a distraction, but it's kind of a fact of life, I think, in the NFL for teams that underperform in the first half of the season.
No, I get it, but there are teams, for example, the teams that just seem to have success year in and year out. Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Baltimore. I mean, you just don't hear stuff like that
because they're not
teams
losing
as often.
Because they're usually in the mix.
Well, I think it's twofold. I think it's one that they're winning, number one, but I also think that they are running it the right way. In my opinion.
Yeah, I hear you. I just think it's more, to me, it's more about the one-loss record because you hear it's never, obviously, if a team's in the hunt. You never hear about them looking to shed players for cap space or things like that. It's certain guys, it becomes pretty obvious that, there's enough smoke out there that they're probably available for the right offer. I'm not saying that they would have definitely dealt Christian Kirk if he didn't get hurt. I'm just curious. Would you even consider trading Travis Etienne? Like, what kind of offer would it take at this point for a 2-6 football team to consider that?
I think you're always a listener to anybody's offer. It just depends on what the offer would be.
Well, let's say somebody said, I'll give you a second-round pick.
I'd probably say you can have them.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying they're shopping him or anything like that. I'm just asking, Is there a price range where you think it would not be unreasonable to consider that?
I think there's always a price range, but my whole purpose of bringing up the trade chatter is that you never want to that stuff. You don't ever want to have that out in the public. A lot of that conversation and thinking and all of that can be kept private.
Right. Well, if you're 6-2, you wouldn't be hearing any of it. So, all right. Exactly. Well, we got to take a timeout. More with Jeff Lageman on a Check the Tape Tuesday straight ahead on Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Get inside the mind of Jags coach Doug Peterson.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't have butterflies.
Coach Speaks. Fridays at 4:05 on The Franchi Show.
I want to win.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called The Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents in 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
When you need a plumber,
call Duck Duck Rooter.
When you need your septic tank pumped out,
call Duck Duck Rooter.
When you need any septic or plumbing issue fixed right the first time,
call Duck Duck Rooter.
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services. DuckDuckRooter.com.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Bank in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Hurricane season is here, and now's the time to think about a home generator. My friends at Ricketts Electric can make sure your home always has power. They can install the perfect generator for your home and are even offering a 10% discount this month if you mention 1010XL. So call my friend Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960 or find them on Facebook. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them at 320-5960.
It's hard to stop the Tomahawk Chop.
I'm RJ Saunders. Follow Florida State's road to the college football playoff on the Seminole Report.
Brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team on 1010XL.
Ready to sharpen your aim or find the perfect firearm? Come to St. Nicholas Guns and Range for our White Tag sales event. Up to 20% off all White Tag firearms all October with a huge selection of guns, ammo, and gear, plus Jacksonville's best indoor range for every skill level. They've got what you need to hit your target. If you're a pro or just starting, their friendly experts will guide you at 4630 Blanding Boulevard or online at stnickguns.com. St. Nicholas Guns and Range, gear up, shoot a lot, shoot better.
Big Sur's here. My cigars are back in stock at Island Girl Gate Parkway. Buy a box and I will autograph it for you. Island Girl Gate Parkway is the place to enjoy a great cigar selection, a full bar, enjoy a daily happy hour from noon to 7 and all day Sunday. Enjoy college and NFL games from noon to 6. When you buy 5 cigars, you get 1 free. Plus, live music Friday and Saturday nights. For upcoming events, follow Island Girl Gate Parkway on Instagram and Facebook at islandgirl.gateparkway.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Jags Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projacksroofingfl.com.
Now the Performance Painting High Performance Play of the Game. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
When all looked lost for Jacksonville in the game's closing moments, the Teal and Black would deliver in a big way in the clutch. Trevor Lawrence would find tight end Evan Ingram, who would make an unbelievable touchdown grab to tie the score at 27, with 1:48 left in the fourth quarter. The Evan Ingram score is your Performance Painting play of the game.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting. Now that's what I call high-quality H2O.
If you want high-quality water in your home at a fair price that won't scare you to death, then talk to someone who knows water and is not a pushy salesman. Contact your local water boy, Keith. I install premium equipment and can repair or even rebuild your existing system. In a business known for aggressive sales tactics, let me show you how my approach is different. If you've got any water problems, contact the water boy at waterboyjack.com.
Hey Googans, Dr. Chris Kopp, PT here with Premier Physical Therapy of Jacksonville. Is pain interfering with your life? Looking for a specialist for the rehab of your young athlete? Whether recovering from injury, surgery, or improving overall function, Premier PT Jax provides personalized treatment with compassionate care. My team of experts are ready to serve you at 3 locations: Plana Vieja, San Pablo, and US 1 Phillips Highway. Visit PremierPTJax.com or call 904-996-6922. PremierPTJax.com, where your journey to wellness begins.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
Somebody just asked on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, look, we have the same record as the Jets. No one's talking about them offloading assets. Actually, they're starting to. Look, the Jets, as you replied, Tony, they announced themselves as buyers, right? They thought they could make a run. So when a team is making those kind of moves and they're all in on a 41-year-old quarterback, there's no playing for the future for that team. This team has a 25-year-old quarterback, and I'm not saying the Jags have given up on playing for the future, but there's a different place that they're at. And PFT headline today logs, could the Jags trade Aaron Rodgers?
Jets.
I'm sorry, the Jets. And also on ESPN Radio today, Adam Schefter was asked, could they turn around and trade Devontae Adams after they just acquired him? So,
I don't expect those two things to be realistic possibilities at all, but that doesn't mean people are going to stop speculating. The Jets are bad enough that it happens.
You're a team right now that's like 2-5, 2-6. You're being looked at because nobody is mathematically out of it. The Panthers are not mathematically out of it.
No.
It's unlikely that they're going to be in it. And the Panthers has basically been stated almost as a mortal fact. Deontay Johnson will be traded by next Tuesday. So, who knows?
Let me just add something here about the Jets thing and Aaron Rodgers too, and that Pro Football Talk, which is where that headline is at, is Aaron Rodgers trade a possibility. The founder of Pro Football Talk is Mike Florio. I don't think anybody enjoys barbing or jousting with Aaron Rodgers more than Mike
I don't
Florio.
disagree with that. I don't disagree with that, but I don't think it's an unfair question. Like if you're Aaron Rodgers. And what's left to play for other than one more brass ring, right? And so if this season isn't going that way, would you be opposed to going to the right circumstance if there is one?
Yeah, it's hard to see.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be, right? I'm just saying, my point being, I don't think it's likely. And I agree with your point that he does love to verbally joust kind of with Aaron Rodgers. But it doesn't change the fact that this is being talked about. It does, right? Every team. And sometimes you don't hear about it. It's like the Josh Uche deal gets traded from the Patriots to the Chiefs. And it's not that we're hearing, Josh Uche likely on the move. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But there's another team that just won, by the way, their second game. And they're like, we're not really going anywhere this year. So we're trying to get something for some of these guys. Anyway, let's get back to the phones logs. At 641-1010, John on the west side on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. John, you're up next. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Jeff, did you get your buck yet?
No, I wish I could have some time to sit in a deer stand, to be honest with you.
Okay, I was just curious. Sorry to get off topic. Just real quick, because you're a defensive guy, watching Bosa and watching Watt, they just blow people up. What makes them so special? Because our guys physically are pretty close to these guys. Watching them, they just go through guys like hot knife through butter, and our guys seem to be struggling just to not even beat the double team. And if you could explain that to me, I know the eye test and everything else, but the technique. Can you just tell me what it is, and I'll listen off the air. Thank you.
Well, Bosa and T.J. Watt are just in that elite category, and those guys literally every week they face double teams and they consistently beat them, and they're fun to watch. I don't think that Josh or Trayvon are in their category yet. I think they're a notch below. And if you need proof of that, turn the film on and watch the games over the weekend. Those two guys are elite, and I think that Trayvon is getting better, which is awesome to see. I think he's having his best year. He's been physical. He's been winning at a better rate than he has in the past. And I think Josh is, off the notch a little bit as far as comparing him to last year. And when you're not getting anything from the inside too, I think it makes it a little bit more glaring, I would say, that maybe those two guys aren't at the level of where you want them to be. And I don't know what's going on with the defensive tackles with the Jaguars, but, at the beginning of the year, they kept, I think, like 8 guys that were defensive tackles, and the productivity hasn't even been there. And usually if you're going to keep a position with that kind of a number, there's a reason why, and that reason is that you're very talented there. I would venture to say that group right there has been one of the least productive groups of the team so far this year. So, but anyway, getting back to the original question, look, Bosa and T.J. Watt are in a category that is truly elite, and Josh and Trayvon aren't quite there.
All right, Logs, hold those thoughts, please. Got one segment coming up. Tony's going to take a quick look around the rest of the NFL.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
As you mentioned, Demps, Kansas City is sending a 2026 sixth-round pick to New England for outside linebacker Josh Uche. The Los Angeles Rams have given cornerback Tre'Davious White, who has not played in the last 3 games, permission to seek a trade. An MRI yesterday revealed that Green Bay quarterback Jordan Love suffered a strained groin that knocked him out of the game here in Jacksonville on Sunday. He is considered day-to-day, could still possibly play this week. New Orleans is expecting quarterback Derek Carr to return to practice for them on Wednesday. Cincinnati wide receiver T. Higgins, who missed their game this week due to a quad injury that he picked up in practice on Friday, is considered day-to-day for the Bengals. Houston head coach D'Amico Ryan said yesterday that wide receiver Stephon Diggs is still being evaluated for the non-contact injury that forced him to leave their game on Sunday. Still no update this morning on that, but something should come out today. Tomorrow would be my guess. And following Indianapolis quarterback Anthony Richardson tapping himself out of their game against Houston on Sunday, head coach Shane Steichen was asked on Monday if Richardson would remain the Colts starting quarterback, to which he replied, quote, "We're evaluating everything," end quote. So who knows what the playing future is for Anthony Richardson. You
can't tap out.
That's
for a
crazy.
Play. Come on.
Never seen it. But put that aside, he is struggling so mightily right now.
He is playing like a lot of people thought that he would play when he was drafted. Many people believed that he was a project and that he was a superior athlete, but not a superior quarterback. And, fact of the matter is that he may be a good quarterback in time, but he was not there in college. He's not there now. And maybe he will, but maybe he won't.
All right, we got to take our final time out here. We'll come back with some more of your questions off social media for Jeff Lageman on a Check the Tape Tuesday. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When you roll into a convenience store for some cold Bud Light, you want to make sure it's, well, cold. Check out the big coolers at Circle K. They make sure it's chilled and ready to go for the big game or party. Swing by Circle K and pick up some cold Bud Light.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen, energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires October 31st and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Jags fans, looking for the perfect activity around the holidays? We've got you covered with the inaugural Teal Trot 5K. The race takes place outside Everbank Stadium, Saturday, December 21st. We can't wait to see you there. Your registration includes the 5K, a throwback Jaguars headband, and a ticket to the December 29th game against the Titans. Visit jaguars.com/Teal Trot to sign up today.
Hey, John, I think everyone in Jacksonville is ready to elevate their ride.
Absolutely. At Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville, we have stunning 2024 Escalades and Lyrics in stock right now.
And the great news is you can get a $4,000 Escalade loyalty rebate.
Don't wait for the 2025 models to come in.
Luxury is just a visit away. Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
Not available with some other offers. Must take retail delivery by 10/31/24 plus tax tag title $8.99 admin fee and resist all on approved credit.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
When the Dogs and Gators cross the bridge, the world's largest cocktail party becomes a fight on the First Coast.
The party of the year!
Florida-Georgia Week is celebrated by Kingfish Pest Control and Ackerman Urology and Cancer Center on 1010XL.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment. Hey, it's Prosper here, and if you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low 5s, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis, express equity lines of credit. So call now, get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today. You won't make a house payment till 2025. 904-999-1508. That's loanpronto.com or 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Googan Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Doug Peterson on his level of concern with the Jaguars pass rush.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you want to affect the passer, and you go in each week thinking you can, and we got something. We got to take a look at it, and I do believe still we got the right guys there. Whether we move them more, bring 5-man pressures, 6-man pressures, whatever we got to do to affect the passer, we've got to be able to do that. And I know Ryan is looking hard at that, takes a lot of pride in that, and it's an area that we've got to improve.
Trayvon Walker has 6.5 of the Jaguars' 17 sacks. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since '87.
All right, coming down the stretch here with Jeff Lageman on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Get a couple more of these questions in for you here, Logs. This one from Mr. Physics83 on X or Twitter. This is a Trent Baalke question, I believe. Do the Jags have a smartest person in the room problem? Like, what do you think the dynamic is with Baalke and Doug Peterson from what you can tell?
Well, first of all, I don't really know, just because, I'm not involved in any of those conversations, but they seem to be on the same page. From everything that you hear from Doug and everything that you hear from Trent, they appear and seem to be on the same page.
Doug Peterson was asked about Trevor Lawrence down the stretch, leading that drive 87 yards in tough circumstances. And some people took his answer to be like a shot at Trevor, because he, instead of focusing on Trevor, he said, hey, let's give some credit to these other players who are out there who are not normally there making plays for him. I didn't think there was anything wrong with the answer, right? But some people took it to be like, oh, he didn't jump to the defense of his quarterback, so there's got to be an issue there. Are people just right now, are we just at the point where people are trying to read too much into everything that happens with this football team, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think we can be a little hypersensitive, to every word that maybe the coach says, when you're not winning. Look, if let's say that was after a win, then people might have read it as, because I know, the conversation that people are talking about, because I saw something that was thrown up about it, but if they're winning, maybe people are looking at that. Boy, Doug's really quick to give praise to some of the other guys, and that's awesome to see. I think a lot of that is perception.
All right, Dylan, if you'd be so kind, why don't you fire it up?
10-10
Take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 Take, brought to you by
Double checked. Cybersecurity made simple.
All right, Logs, we will direct today's 10-10 Take to you, as we often do on Tuesdays, to get your take on a Jaguar issue. Last year, Christian Kirk goes out with an injury, and I think there are a lot of impacts. I feel like he is a kind of a glue piece to this team, if that is such a thing. I think he's a professional. He works hard. He has the trust of the quarterback and all those things. How big of a loss are the intangibles that Christian Kirk brings to this football team for the rest of the year?
I think they're significant. And If anybody is wondering what the team thinks of Christian Kirk, then watch the interview post game with Evan Ingram. Because Evan Ingram wears the C on his chest and one of the great leaders of this team, and I believe he's a really good football player. And he talks about how much he appreciates and respects and loves Christian Kirk, and that's saying a lot, because when you've got one of your higher level players that is one of those guys that does everything the right way, and he has that kind of adulation and respect for another teammate, that's pretty impressive.
All right, Logs. Is there? I feel like we've gone over a lot of ground with the defense, but is there anything? Personnel change, schematic, amount of blitzing, whatever, less rotation. What is something that you would try as a defensive player to get this team playing better on that side of the ball?
I think on the defense, if guys are continuing to make mistakes, then you lessen their play time or eliminate their play time, plain and simple. The ultimate correction is that a guy's play time either goes away or goes down. And that's how you hold guys accountable. And, week in and week out, we're kind of still seeing the same rotation of guys. Some of it has been tweaked because of injury, but for the most part, we have not seen any kind of tweaks for performance, or at least what we could perceive as being performance. And I think that's the only way you end up holding. That's the ultimate way that you hold guys accountable.
Well, somebody asked on the text line, basically they cited a bunch of stats, and I won't go through all of them, but their point was the last couple of years, the Jags have been much more proficient in creating takeaways. Why have they fallen so far off in that category, in your opinion?
They're not clean on the back end, as we talked about, and they're making a lot of mistakes and mental errors. And then when you're not generating the pass rush that you have, then that also is an issue. Pass rush is a direct correlation to takeaways. And if you look at the higher sack teams in the league, the teams that get the most pressure, typically they're going to be the teams that get the most takeaways. And the Jaguars this year are not generating pressure consistently enough. You just played a clip just a minute ago on the station there about Doug Peterson post-game and about, we need to take a look at our pressure and things of that nature. Well, that's one of the reasons why they're talking about pressure, because that directly impacts the takeaways that this team has. And also that when you play a lot of man, you don't have as much or as many eyes back to the quarterback to be able to react to the ball. I think that also plays a part of that. But this team needs to clean things up if they're going to have a chance just at playing good defense and getting takeaways. They've got to clean it up. They got to get better playing and play out and stop having the mental breakdowns that is costing this team games.
We know Philadelphia can threaten an opponent in a bunch of different ways, right? And when you're looking at the matchup coming up on Sunday defensively for the Jaguars, what matchup frightens you the most from a Jaguars perspective, just trying to get ready for this game?
Well, let's go to the drive late in the ball game against the Green Bay Packers, or actually third quarter, second possession of the third quarter. Okay, Green Bay's got the ball, and all of a sudden they end up putting together, I think it was a drive that had like 76 yards on the ground of an 80-yard drive. And one of the reasons why that was made possible is because of the running ability and the threat of Malik Willis as a runner. And look, in Philadelphia, you've got another quarterback that can run, and they run a system that you have to account for the quarterback in the running game. And, not to mention they have Saquon Barkley, who's a really good player in an offensive line that, gotten a little beat up and been missing some parts, but overall, they're a really good offensive line, even with the backups that they've been playing. So this is a challenging game. And when you've got two guys on the outside that can absolutely light you up, and Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, this is not going to be an easy matchup.
You got those guys. You got Saquon.
I think if they ran the tush-push 40 times this week, Jacksonville would still lose. That's how I feel about the interior of the Jags defensive line right now.
You'd probably pick up 3.5 a pop. That's enough on 3 of those. Or, you go do it 4 times. You're certainly going to get the first down. So, It's a daunting prospect, Logs. I mean, what's obviously, you're trying to win a football game, but you've been trying to win a football game all season long, and you've only been successful 2 out of 8 tries. Is there any different message that you're sending this week, or is, I understand doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results is insanity, but at the same time, we talk about we want NFL coaches to be consistent in their messaging. So what are you doing if you're Doug Peterson to try to light a fire under your club this week?
Well, I think you got to emphasize a fast start. And because you haven't been starting fast, number one. And number two, if you can get off to a fast start against Philadelphia, you maybe have a chance of getting them out of their comfort zone and their game plan. Their comfort zone and game plan is playing a game that's with, one possession game and just sticking with the run and being somewhat conservative as an offense. If all of a sudden you're able to get out early on Philadelphia, now all of a sudden you're putting into their mind, hey, look, we better get to put some points on the board here. Otherwise, we're going to be way behind. So if you can, and how do you accomplish that? I mean, look, as a coach, you try to let your team know that we're going to come out, we're going to start practice fast, and if we don't, then we're going to go back in and we're going to have meetings and then come back out again a second time and try to restart it. Whatever you got to do to try to simulate a fast start in a game, whether it's, drills in practice that are earlier in practice, coming out, hitting the drills faster right out of the gate in practice, whatever it is. But a fast start would be a huge, huge help this week against the Eagles.
All right, we're about to welcome in Helmets and Heels Log. So before we do, we'll say goodbye to you and appreciate your service today. Where are folks going to hear you the rest of the week?
The usual parts. We got the Jaguars Happy Hour this week with me and JP Shadrick, 4 to 6, where the coaches show starts at 5, the Doug Peterson show. Jaguars All Access on Thursday, and then we'll not be on the outdoor show Saturday morning because we're traveling early because of the Florida-Georgia game.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
But the outdoor show will be on, okay, with my boys.
All right, and I'm sure we'll all be locked in and listening as usual. Logs, have a great week, and we'll talk to you on Sunday.
All right, thank you, boys.
Thank you, man. There you go. Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman, wrapping up.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer, drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Hello, Taylor Dahl.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Did you hear about the drama in the Breakfast Bowl this week?
I did not.
As a former Breakfast Bowl champion.
I missed it.
Tony's up by 14.2. D-Rock's got Malik Neighbors. 7 catches, 72 yards. You can do the math on that. That's 14.2.
Yep.
Dead heat. They're tied. Breakfast Bowl's over. Somewhere in the next 20 minutes, the NFL took 1 yard away from Malik Neighbors.
Oh my God.
So D-Rock buys.
D-Rock buys again.
Oh my God. I've seen a few of those this week. There was one with the Falcons.
Darnell Mooney was credited with a catch.
Yeah.
They gave it to Bijan. Usually they wait till Thursday to correct those.
Yeah.
But that must have been they had the wrong guy catching it.
Yeah.
Usually the biggest stat correction you get on offense is usually lateral, non-lateral, right?
Yes.
They throw it to the back, and was it a backwards pass? Therefore, he doesn't get credit for a catch.
Yeah.
But we've all had those sweats where you're leading by less than a point, and you wonder if it's going to hold up. But in this case, D-Rock doesn't need to wonder.
Oh my goodness.
And it's beautiful because he took Jordan Love.
He did.
That's his fault.
And he took Jordan Love and lost by 1/10 of a point.
Yeah.
So very deserving.
After it looked like a tie.
This dirty so-and-so told him if he was going to take a Packer, Tucker Kraft was the guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, what is coming up on Helmets and Heels today?
We actually have a ton today. So we have a few different guests. We're going to have Mike Golick. He's coming on to talk college football. We have Clay Hensley, a former Major League Baseball pitcher, is going to come on to talk about the World Series. Rick's coming on to talk about the Florida State. Not sure what else we have to say about Florida State, but we'll find some stuff in here. And then it's funny that Lageman was just talking about that fast start, because actually my tangent today, I went and did some research about the teams in the league right now, the better teams in the league, and how they are starting their first quarter points, their first quarter drives, and all of that stuff. So we're going to break down that too.
I'm interested because that came up yesterday because people misunderstood. Hacker had tweeted out about, at a certain point, everyone had scored and the Jags had yet to get a first down in the game. but there have been other teams that have struggled getting out of the gates this year.
There's several. So, I have some of those, and then we'll go into kind of their correlation of there's a few outliers on each end, like a few outliers. There's a couple teams sitting in the top of scoring in the first quarter that are not very good teams, and then on the opposite end, there's some teams like the Chiefs are one of the worst first quarter teams, and they're the Chiefs, and they haven't lost.
I would just suggest to you that if you make a particularly good point today, don't get up and celebrate before the show is over.
I know. Yeah, I know. With 2 seconds left of the show.
Taylor, have a great show.
Thank you.
We appreciate you very much. All right, there you go. Former Breakfast Bowl champion. And because she didn't come back the next year, you can consider her the reigning Breakfast Bowl champion if you choose to, Taylor Dahl. All right, that's going to do it for us. Johnny O coming in tomorrow, and we'll continue to analyze and dissect everything that's going on with Jaguar football and really take a look at the potentials for the trade deadline as well coming up tomorrow. That'll do it. Thanks for listening to Jaguars Today. Helmets and Heels is next on 1010XL 92.5 FM.